I'm a guy that's 26. Each day I build with bricks. I like Star Wars playsets. I'm Rich Boy J.
Hello BOYOs, Rich Boy J here, back with another video, and today I'm going to be bringing to you the long-awaited BOYO Lounge. Yes, if you don't know what the BOYO Lounge is, the BOYO Lounge is the fan appreciation room that I include as part of my large-scale mocks. Now, typically, I would do this as actual, like, a part of the mock that's in the mock. Unfortunately, due to the time constraints and circumstances surrounding the completion of Starkiller base, I was not able to get this done in time to actually be a part of the mock. It was going to be a hidden part of the mock, so to speak, but nonetheless, I did just do it as its own standalone build, and I do think it's better off because of that. I am super excited to finally show you guys off the fan appreciation room to give everyone who deserves some recognition, the recognition that they deserve. So let's not talk about it anymore. Let's just dive right into the BOYO Lounge. This has been 2.5 years in the making. This is something no one has seen even an ounce of up until this moment. So I'm really excited to reveal this thing to the world. And now I finally present to you all the BOYO Lounge. Come on, is there anything else this could have been than a Chucky Cheese? So if you're wondering why the heck is the BOYO Lounge a Chucky Cheese this time around, it was a super difficult thing trying to figure out what exactly to make this place. I mean, when you have 2.5 years of just events and live streams and conversations and memes and laughs and all that stuff leading up to this one moment, it was extremely hard to narrow this down to one thing. I feel like when I did this last time with Vardos, it seemed a little bit more obvious what I'd do with it. But this one though, this is a lot of pressure. I have to admit to you guys, it was a lot of pressure trying to figure out exactly what I wanted to do here. So rather than try to come up with something that was like all encompassing and then super meaningful across the board, because once again, how do you sum up 2.5 years of a particular build? I figured, why not just go with something fun? And it was fun at the time, and I thought it'd make for a fun build as well. So we had, I think, a few live streams that kind of devolved into us just reminiscing on Chucky Cheese, or more specifically me reminiscing on Chucky Cheese. We had a few other people who weren't so excited about Chucky Cheese. But yeah, this was obviously a cool place for me to go as a kid. I can still smell that wonderful, wonderful pizza when I think about Chucky Cheese. So I figured, why not build this thing in Lego, especially since I'm not sure I've ever actually seen anyone build this in Lego. So this just really made a lot of sense to me. And I hope that everyone who was around for those specific streams gets a kick out of it. If you weren't, then I hope you get a kick out of seeing a Lego Chucky Cheese. And moreover, I thought that this worked because it kind of points to the spontaneity of the live streams that we do. Like, anything can come up, right? So, you know, rather than have some location that sums up the entirety of the Starkiller series, why not just have something that really was just some random thing we talked about one time, but that kind of is the essence of most of the streams and the things that we remember. They're usually just some random thing that we talked about at one point. So enough of me jabbing on about Chucky Cheese. Let me show you the actual build. So first we're going to start off with the entrance over here. You can see there's just an empty door, an open door, just kind of leads right into the place. And if you're wondering why these shots are so up close, I'm purposefully doing this. I don't want to spoil the entirety of the build up front. I want to have you guys kind of see more of it as we progress through, because unlike Starkiller, this isn't, you know, a giant build. This is just 2 gray base plates. So first thing you're going to see here is a wanted poster. Yes, that is Garrett Brick's, his wanted poster. A lot of people have been clamoring for him to make his return to the LEGO community. Next you'll see is some beautiful artwork we have here on the walls. Now this was done by a guy on Instagram named, I think, Zach Swanee Art. And I can't remember how on earth we found him, but he has this culmination of just awesome, hilarious photos of characters from various fandoms. He has quite a few Star Wars ones as well. So I figured, why not showcase the best artists that I have been blessed to have discovered, and that is X20 Art. So if you guys are watching this right now, go give the man a follow on Instagram. He's constantly posting pictures, and he does commissions too. So if you want to see yourself imagine in that style of art that only Zach Swanee can produce, then make sure you go ahead and hit him up for that. Next, we'll move ourselves over to the cash register, and look, we got a couple of BOYOs hanging out. So over on the left side, we have Zandy Boy, and he's going to be super happy that I finally updated his sig fig, because for the longest time, he had the original sig fig he requested for Crate, and he was like, I don't want that one anymore, make me the Xander minifig, and I'm like, nah man, you requested that sig fig. And I finally caved, I finally gave him Xander, so hope you're happy about that. And then next to him on the cash register is, of course, Playmation Films. This is my guy. I talk to Ben all the time. He is such a joy to talk to, such an awesome person, and pretty much every year he sends me like a Christmas package, which is just awesome. Like, I don't know if anyone in my family has given me Christmas gifts with more regularity than Ben has. So I'm super appreciative of the conversations we have, man, and all the awesome things you've done for my channel. I still to this day believe you've made the most well-produced and most entertaining video on my channel. That is the Cold Like Hawk music video, and I will never take that for granted. So behind them, you'll notice we have the menu. Yes, that is that iconic Chucky Cheese menu, loads of beautiful options on there, as well as like ticket prices and whatnot. And we got some glasses back there. So with any ticket to Chucky Cheese in the BOYO verse, you get a glass of BOYO water. We don't do bottles of BOYO water anymore. We got to get the glasses out, the champagne glasses specifically. You know how it goes, guys. When in doubt, pinky out. So you'll notice next up in the frame, we have my man Key Dude, another BOYO, and he is actually part of the Chucky Cheese Entertainment section. He is over here doing some artwork for the Stormtrooper. So Key Dude is like our go-to guy when it comes to any sort of artwork. He is constantly making awesome characters and caricatures of us. So I figured what better way to have them in the BOYO Lounge than doing some caricatures of the patrons, these Stormtroopers that we have here. So that's what he's up to over here. So now let's take a look at the gaming area of the arcade. So first up, we have some Death Star skee ball. I feel like this is a staple of any arcade that you go to. You go to an arcade, you gotta expect to see some skee ball. And this is just one of the most fun things to do at arcades. So I made it Death Star themed, so you'll see that it's all grayed out, similar to the architecture on the Death Star. And that is like the goal, right? You got to get your ball into one of those 3 holes there. I wish I could take credit for that design right there using the underside of a slope. That's actually something I found online, which was really cool. I think that's perfect for like skee ball, the little holes that are up there. So that worked out pretty well. And the idea is the ball is like, you know, the proton torpedo. So like you're an X-Wing pilot, quote unquote, and you're using proton torpedo to land in the Death Star's mini exhaust ports. So that was kind of the idea of the game. I thought that it was a nice way to cross over Star Wars and skee ball. And then up top, you can see we have some actual models up here. So I've been building a few things in mini scale lately, which has been actually kind of fun. I don't know if it's something I'd ever do, you know, extensively, but it's been an interesting way to kind of test my skills as a builder. So I made a mini scaled X-Wing up there being trailed by 2 TIE fighters. And those are just supposed to be, you know, like models for the game, just to make it a little bit more visually interesting to look at. Just, I don't know, like if they made an actual Star Wars themed skee ball, I can imagine them doing something like this up top. So I thought that actually came out pretty well. I was very happy with that X-Wing technique, even though it is extremely fragile. I'm glad I finally got it on camera now. I don't have to worry about it falling apart anymore. So next up is, I don't know how to describe this other than one of those, like, I don't know, fortune teller games. There's always like the bust of some person, and he's in a big glass box, and you put a coin in, and he tells you like what the heck's gonna happen in your life, I guess, or answers just random questions. I figured this would be me in here. So if you look through that glass box, you can see the main BOYO himself, Rich Boy J. He is in there, and he is there to answer all of your fortune questions. I feel like I'm a little bit of a fortune teller myself. I have to take credit for being the first person on record saying that Palpatine in Episode 9 was not going to be a good thing. I got quite a lot of pushback, a surprising amount of pushback, but as history is told, we know who was on the right side of history in that regard. So that kind of was the inspiration for remaking this game right here. So yep, we got this guy lined up for a little bit of fortune telling. I also wanted to highlight, we have a line right here, and these guys, they have their VIB cards. So if you go to the Lego store nowadays, they give you a blue VIP card. When you go to the BOYO versus Chucky Cheese, you get your VIB card. That's your very important BOYO card. And that's what they're using here to play these games. So if you see random stormtroopers holding those blue 1x1 tiles, those are their VIB cards. Very important, very important. So then next up, this was really the first of these games that I designed, and this was the most fun one to design, I have to say. This is Jizz Hero. Yes, you think of music in Star Wars, you think of like, you know, what are some important music genres, and what more can you think of than Jizz, right? Like that has to be the thing that all of your minds go to. So I figured, why not do like a Guitar Hero influenced arcade game here? So it's called Jizz Hero. Got some custom artwork of a Bith musician on the side, which I actually did myself. So all this artwork that you see here, if it's like a drawing or something, I did that myself, which I'm super proud of, because like I found out how to make stickers and put them on Lego stuff. Like it was kind of unfortunate that I didn't really get to use any of these new talents for the actual Starkiller base mock, but I am happy that I at least got to use it for the BOYO Lounge. So these guys are playing a little bit of Jizz Hero right here. It's the new sensation, guys. This game is taking the world by storm. This is gonna be the next Candy Crush, I imagine. So if you have a little sibling coming up to you and they're like, you got any games on your phone, definitely let them know about Jizz Hero. Next up, this is probably one of the funnest posters that I got to make here. I don't know if you can tell, but that says Boba Fett's Local Park Massacre. So you guys know how I feel about The Mandalorian Season 2. I thought one of the funniest things I've ever got to witness as a human being is seeing Boba Fett's John Wick inspired sequence in that local park that they had in that Mandalorian Season 2 episode. And I figured that would make a perfect video game, because that sequence is basically like something out of a video game. So I figured, why not in our arcade have Boba Fett's Local Park Massacre? And this is a super fun poster to make for the outside of this arcade cabinet. And the arcade itself is actually very inspired by Boba Fett, so you'll notice just the color scheming on it. There's some sand green, dark red, and yellow. And then there's two blasters you can use, because it is a two-player game, believe it or not. So yeah, that's Boba Fett's Local Park Massacre. Next up, we have the Brick Pit. So what the heck is the Brick Pit? You'll notice there is a stormtrooper on the inside of this deal, and he's holding a bunch of like dark gray bricks. So dark gray bricks, as any Star Wars builder will tell you, is the holy grail. That is the most valuable commodity in the Lego Star Wars community. So I figured, rather than having like a money pit or like a ticket pit, why not have one of these like little like tornado style games where you hop in this pit and then a bunch of dark gray bricks just fly around everywhere, and you gotta see how many you can grab. That seemed to me to be the perfect item to have flying around in there. So this guy's having fun in the brick pit, and there's a bunch of friends outside supporting him, so that's kind of cool. Next up is actually a real arcade game, and I thought it was super necessary to have this because as a Star Wars fan, this is the one that's going to catch your eye, like 100%. So this is the Star Wars Racer Arcade. This is like the pod race game they have in arcades, and you can see there's even Anakin's little pod racer thing, which is actually how it looks in real life. It's pretty fun. And if you'll notice on the actual screen, though, he's playing the pod racer level from Lego Star Wars, because this is the Lego BOYO universe. It makes sense to have this be like, you know, them playing a Lego Star Wars game as opposed to like a realistic one, because these guys don't know nothing about no real people. All they know is about Lego. So this was a fun one to recreate. Next up, we have, so I hope that this isn't lost on everyone, because I don't know how popular or not popular these games are, but it seemed to me to be like the perfect arcade game to have in here. But this is the Star Wars Theory arm wrestle arcade game. So as you can see, there's just this arcade cabinet, and there's an arm popping out of it. That is Star Wars Theory's arm. And if you're not aware, Star Wars Theory is freaking yoked, and I'm sure he'd be a very tough out in arm wrestling contests. So I figured, why not have him be the face of this arm wrestling game? You'll even notice there are some popped off arms on there. You know, this is not a game for everyone to play, guys. This is a very intense and difficult game. I mean, if you see what Star Wars Theory looks like, you can probably imagine there's going to be quite a few dislocations when it comes to arm wrestling. So that's why there's some Stormtrooper arms down there. This guy actually just got done playing, so he is in fact missing his arm, if you can tell, and he's just like, man, I've made some weird life choices up at this point. But actually, Star Wars Theory has finally met his match, because we got my boy Mark, aka John Cena, and he is about to take on Star Wars Theory's Arm Wrestling Challenge. If you're wondering why I put John Cena here, this dude is also freaking yoked now. I swear to God, I saw him for the first time in a while over the summer, and like Mark could barely fit through my front door. This dude is so freaking swole. So I figured, why not have him be the one accepting the Star Wars Theory Arm Wrestling Challenge? So as we make our way back over here, we see another dude who just lost his arm, but he's like, you know what? I'm at Chucky Cheese. I'm not gonna let that ruin my day. Let me go ahead and make my way to another game. And here we have the Cold Like Hoth Ice Hockey Challenge. So ice hockey, once again, another staple of the arcade. And I mean, when you think of ice hockey, you think of ice, you think of coldness, you gotta think about Cold Like Hoth, right? This is not something that I made, you know, since I've done Starkiller. In fact, I made the song long before Starkiller, but it seems to be one of the recurring themes in the BOYO-verse, so I figured it was super necessary to put this here. So if you'll notice, the actual ice hockey game is kind of styled like those Rebel utility carts from Echo Base. That was the goal there, and I think it actually came out pretty well. I'm going to keep all these arcade games after this mock just because they're kind of funny, and they're all personal in some way. But this one in particular, I was really proud of. I was really proud of that egg swing I made for the skee ball over here, but I was also really proud of this Cold Like Hoth ice hockey game that I made. I just realized I've been calling it ice hockey this whole time. This is actually air hockey, but still, you think of air hockey, you think of hockey, you think of ice. Yeah, the Cold Like Hoth connection is still there. Hopefully it's still obvious to a lot of people. And I'm gonna have to take this off because I don't think you guys are gonna see it if I don't. But there's actually a cool little sticker I did for the side of this. And it is, let me see, hold on, if I can just turn that around. It is a Lego version of me from the Cold Like Hoth music video. Not the music video, just the normal video. But it's, yeah, a Legoized version of me as Luke Skywalker talking on his little wrist communication device. So another artwork that I was able to do, and once again, really proud of it. I think it looks awesome. Super happy with the way that came out. All right, so next up we have the Jungle Gym. Now this, of course, is another staple of Chucky Cheese. You go to any Chucky Cheese and this is 100% going to be there. And this was one of the first things I thought of doing when I came up with this mock. I was like, oh, there has to be some sort of jungle gym, right? So that is what I've constructed here. You can see we have some stormtroopers kind of climbing up through here, making their way into the little game, or into the jungle gym, excuse me. And then they'd, I guess, would slide out over here and then come down right there. So that's pretty much it for this. There's not really too much to say about it other than this was one of my most fondest memories from going to Chucky Cheese as a boyo. So it was super cool to get to build this. Now, before we move on to the next section of the Boyo Lounge, I did just want to talk about why this is the way it is over here. So if you were wondering, Jay, why the heck are there a bunch of stormtroopers here at your Chucky Cheese? Well, my idea for the canon, quote unquote, of the Boyo Lounge was that after, you know, the finishing of Starkiller Base, all the hard work that all the troops put into it, Kylo Ren would do something nice for them by taking them on a field trip to Chucky Cheese. Like, what better place to go to a field trip than Chucky Cheese? So that's kind of the idea of the build. But similarly, the troops here are the people who donated enough to get a figure in the mock. Now, unfortunately, due to the time constraints I had with finishing the actual build, I couldn't go through in the video, the finale video, and actually get to name these people off. So I figured, rather than just not naming them at all, why not go a step ahead and just put them in the actual Boyo Lounge? So typically, you know, if you donated $15, between $15 and $49.99, you would be, you know, represented as a figure in the mock. which probably just would have been a Stormtrooper since there were so many Stormtroopers in the build anyways. I couldn't do that for reasons that I stated before, so I figured why not take this time to commemorate those people and actually name them off. So I got my list right here, and let's give these shout outs to these people who contributed at least 15 bucks to my channel to get a figure in the Starkiller base mock. So we have perfectly legitimate name. We have Ulrich Von Reg, we have Jet Bricks, Kenneth Robinette, Brick Phase, The Trending Brick, Bricks by Bricks, Mav Brick Z, Thrasher ASMR, Warsaw Builds, Brave Patriot, Ultra X Falcon, Chagan Marshall, Republic Builds, Wyatt Russell, Jamie Dorr, Alex H, Cashew Clicks, and Felix954. You guys are all so awesome for contributing and really making Starkiller base happen. So similar to how in canon, like these Stormtroopers did their part to help make the Star Wars Starkiller base happen, you guys did your part to help me make the Lego Starkiller base happen. So hopefully this makes up for you guys not being able to get mentioned in that Starkiller base video. So now let's move on to the next section of the build, and that is of course the prize area. So if you go to any Chucky Cheese, this is like the main place to be. You want to run up some tickets on your ticket card thing so you can get some prizes. So these prizes that I've chosen here are representative of some event, moment, or random thing that has happened in my community since I've been working on this build. So let's talk a little bit about it. Starting up first, we have a Nintendo Wii. So I have to tread lightly on this topic because there are a lot of people who get triggered by it, but we had some conversations about Nintendo Wiis and just, you know, the kind of talking about like how it compares to the Xbox 360, you know, a true adult console, a true man's console. And there are people out there who actually believe that this baby's toy could compare to it in some way. So I figured, why not throw that up on the prize shelf? Next up, we have the Boba Fett helmet Lego set. So anyone who knows me has known like how I feel about those Lego helmet sets. I've been very outspoken on my opinions about those. I'm not going to dive too deeply into it here, other than to say that, you know, if you have no idea why this is here, I'm not a fan of Lego taking, you know, these 18+ helmet sets and replacing entire waves of play sets. I think play sets are the bread and butter. Play sets are the crux, the cream de la crop of the cream de la crop of Lego Star Wars, and they should be treated as such. They should be respected as such. So yeah, that's why the helmet set is sitting right there. Next up, we have a 501st Trooper helmet. For no other reason than this was just a really important set, probably the most important set that has come out since I've been working on Starkiller base. Like, these were such fond memories, man. I remember when I first found out that like the new sets were finally trickling to the US a little bit ahead of release date, and I went all over the place looking for them until that fateful morning when I got up and I found 501st battle packs at a local Walmart. It was such a great day, it was such a great time, and I really do look back on those moments with fondness. It's been basically over a year since that's happened at this point, so very cool. Next up, we have a monster truck. So if you're wondering, Jay, why the heck is there a monster truck here on these shelves? Well, for starters, since I've been working on Starkiller base, Lego has made licensed Monster Jam sets, which is like the cross section between the two things that I love the most in this world, like outside of family. So like Childhood Jay would have been super happy about that. Fortunately, Childhood Jay didn't get to experience that, but Adult Jay did. Like, that was a super awesome thing to have Lego making Monster Jam sets. I can't stress to you guys how meaningful that is to me. So it was super cool to get to experience that. I bought both sets, obviously, and I figured that was good enough reason alone to put a monster truck here on the shelf. But another reason, and probably a bigger reason personally to me, was just that, if you guys didn't know, I made a video on this earlier in the year, but I basically made a replica RC monster truck track in my backyard, which I can't even express to you just how difficult and daunting of a task that was. But it was an awesome opportunity for me to bond with my little brother because he's into monster trucks as well. And also, it was just a great opportunity for me to do something that, you know, I didn't really have much familiarity with. Like, you guys see me build all these big Lego mocks and whatnot, but it was nice to kind of step outside of my comfort zone and take on something that I had basically no clue about. Like, I didn't know anything about RCs or dirt work, but through a lot of research, through a lot of trial and error, through a lot of hard work, me and my little brother were actually able to complete that. So just for me personally, it was nice to do something that really showed me just my capabilities and how if I really put my mind to something, like, I can accomplish it. So let that be the motivational moment of the BOYO Lounge, and just further reason for me to include the black and green wrecking machine Gravedigger here on one of these shelves. So if I move back around to this side, if I can look behind Wooher, you can see there it is right there. That is the Rich Boy J Mosaic, and it was actually made by Key Dude right there. So Key Dude, oh my god, what a goat. He took the Beatles Mosaic set, and with the pieces from it, he was able to make my Lego profile picture, which is honestly insane. Like, I have one built, and it's one of the coolest things that anyone's ever done for me. So I really do appreciate that, Key Dude. And it's so cool. So if you guys have that Beatles set and you don't want to build a bunch of musicians that no one really cares about, why not build a musician that people do actually care about? Me. And then finally on the shelves, we have a bottle of ketchup. This is another tense point of debate here in the Rich Boy J community. A lot of people, you know, went on some nonsense talking about, you know, like, ketchup needs to be refrigerated, which is clearly not the case, because who wants to eat cold ketchup, you monster? So here at Chucky Cheese in the BOYO-verse, you can win a nice room temperature bottle of ketchup. It does not need to be refrigerated whatsoever. So that's why that's there. And then if we look up, or down rather, you can see that this guy is cashing in the points on his VIP card to win the BOYO Claus hat. So if you guys have been around me during the Christmas season, you'll see me sporting a Yoda themed Santa hat. Unfortunately, this is kind of like me putting this thing to bed because of my dreadlocks. I just straight up can't fit that hat anymore, unfortunately. So now this is me giving the hat up to this stormtrooper who got enough points at Chucky Cheese to win it. If we move our way next to the prize section, we can see we have the pizza stand, more specifically the symmetrical pizza stand. If you guys aren't aware of it, Chucky Cheese had a little bit of legal trouble, you know, completely unwarranted. So now in the BOYO-verse, they're giving you that Chucky Cheese symmetrical pizza guarantee. So if you buy some Chucky Cheese pizza, it is going to be fully symmetrical. The slices in a given pizza are all going to fit together as they should. And to test that, we actually have a BOYO right here. He's holding his first order protractor. He's gonna measure the angles on the pizza to make sure that that symmetrical pizza guarantee is being upheld. So that's a big draw for Chucky Cheese in the BOYO-verse. None of that recycled pizza. Over to the side, we have the Threemigos. We got Brickkid, we got Brickopotamus, and BB Bricks, the three Mando boys, three people who were very important parts of my community, very awesome moderators I had, and I had the pleasure of meeting all three of them over the summer, so I figured, you know, why not throw these guys over here in the BOYO Lounge, just chilling, scoping out the spot here in front of the Chucky Cheese sign. And then over here in the corner, we have my guy forever, Lego Studios. Now I decided to put him over in the corner because he's kind of not in the community right now. He's had some big life changes that have happened recently. Shout out to you, Hunter. Congratulations on having your firstborn child on the way. I wish you the best of luck, and I know that you will be an awesome father because you are just an awesome person. So I figured, you know, why not have you here in the BOYO Lounge? You've been a great friend to me. You contributed actually a significant amount of the stormtroopers that I used in Starkiller base. So definitely couldn't have the BOYO Lounge without you, man. So thanks for everything you've done. And once again, congratulations, man. So then next to Hunter over here is the stage section. And if any of you have ever been to a Chuck E. Cheese, then you know just how important this section of Chuck E. Cheese is. There's usually some animatronics here that perform music, and I figured why not throw in three of the most animated BOYOs to be doing a musical performance. So up front and center, we got my boy Spiffy, and this is his musical poster. You'll notice that. But yeah, this is his band. This is Spiffy and the Bros. So we got Spiffy right up front. Over to the side, we got my man Techno Union. He's holding the microphone because he is always the life of the party. He is the comic relief. He is spitting off his classic techno one-liners over on the side. So we got him over there. And then we got my man, and then on the other side, we got my guy Francis, who is another awesome member of the BOYOs, of the inner circle, so to speak. So these guys are putting on an awesome music performance here in Chucky Cheese. And now we have what is really the entire purpose of the BOYO Lounge. We have those top contributors. So these are the people who did reach that $50 threshold to get the actual personalized sig fig here in the BOYO Lounge. And they're here, front and center at the main party get-together section of Chucky Cheese and the BOYOverse. And you guys are really the true MVPs. You guys are the biggest of big reasons that Starkiller was able to happen. It was such a huge financial undertaking, and I can't understate just how helpful you guys' contributions were. So that is why you've all been commemorated right here. And I do have to first say that there were a few people who did reach this threshold that I just couldn't get a hold of, which is super unfortunate, right? But when you're building a mock over this amount of time, people come and go from the community, people find new things in their lives, people just maybe stop watching your videos, which is totally fine. So there are 3 people who I reached out to, and I just could not get in touch with them for them to give me, what sig fig they wanted. So unfortunately, they can't be here in physical form. They're only here in spirit. So shout out to you, Dan6151, who was a really big fan for a long time. It was kind of unfortunate to see me not be able to get in contact with him. Angel of Herb and Nicholas Corral, all of you did still contribute, but unfortunately just couldn't get a hold of you to give you your proper sig fig here in the BOYO Lounge. So let's, I guess, now go through these people who have really contributed. First up is Brent's Bricks right here. He is represented by, what's this guy's name? Hunter? Yeah, that's it, Hunter from the Bad Batch. The sig fig that he wanted, he was just like, hey, I wear a lot of headbands. That's kind of my signature thing. And I figured, why not just make him the most noteworthy Star Wars character I can think of with a headband? So I made him Hunter right here, and that's who he is. So shout out to Brent's Bricks. He's super active on my live streams. I feel like every live stream I do, he's there, and he's consistently donating, sending out super chats. So I really do appreciate what you do, man. So I went ahead and reoriented the BOYO Lounge because I realized it was going to be increasingly difficult for me to show off some of the guys who had their backs to the camera. I didn't want to just show the backs of the heads of half of the people who donate to get, a spot in this room. But next up right here, we have my guy, Frankie Wright. He is being represented by Young Lando right here. So I didn't realize this until Brick Rodeo, but he does actually live here in Texas, which was awesome. So I had to get to meet him. I got to shake hands with him. He's not someone that I've talked to super extensively, but he was one of my first channel members, and he selected the highest tier of my channel members, which was just the most awesome thing ever, because I didn't really expect anyone to do that. Just kind of threw it out there as a, let's see what's going to happen. But he's been a channel member, and I'm super appreciative of that. So that's why he is here in the B Lounge. Next up, we got my guy, Nostalgic Brick Studios. He is the metal blue B2 standing right here. And honestly gives me anxiety having this minifigure right here, just because I only have 2 of these because I got the Republic Gunship set. And this one in particular is just super weak. Like, the body is, the leg connection, the clip on the legs is super loose, and I really don't want it to break. So I usually don't touch this thing, but I did bring it down for Nostalgic Brick Studios because he, I'm sure, is the person in the community with the greatest amount of metallic blue B2 battle droids. If you haven't seen this guy's Geonosis mock, I'll throw up a picture right now. The thing is insane. But yeah, he is the god of those original episode 2 figures. I'm sure there's no one on the planet that has more of any of those figures than him, so he is well deserving of this figure here in the BOYO Lounge. Next up in the BOYO Lounge is Rebel Friend Films. Now, this guy had one of the coolest propositions. He actually sent me a Zeb minifigure as his admission into the BOYO Lounge, which, you know, if you look at how much that figure costs, that is more than enough for me to put him in this mock. And that was just super cool for me because, you know, that's an expensive figure, and I'm still somewhat trying to get my minifig wall done. So that was a huge stepping stone in my pathway to completing the minifig wall. So I did really appreciate that. And of course, what better way to commemorate Rebel Friend Films than making him my Rebel Friend figure? So I'm sure he was super happy about that. Next up is going to be 9. Now, there's so much I can say about this guy. He's not super active in the community anymore, but when I first got into the community, his name was Fives Productions, and he was one of those people who extensively reached out to me, helped me get to meet people, showed me the ropes, so to speak, when it comes to like the Lego community or like the Lego Star Wars YouTube or Instagram community. So I've talked to him quite a bit. He's, like I say, he's not super active in the community anymore, but he is someone, even into Starkiller base, has been a big supporter of mine. I'd say he's probably one of my longest tenured supporters, and I appreciate everything he's done for me. So shout out to 9. We have him, of course, represented as a battle droid here in the BOYO Lounge. Next up, we have my guy, I'm Lewis. So this guy, once again, longtime supporter. He actually is a wrestling fan, which is pretty cool because we've actually had like calls where we sat down and watched wrestling together. So back when I was like really into wrestling, it was cool to share that with him in the community. So shout out to I'm Lewis, another person that I used to have on streams all the time. So I've talked to him quite a bit, and he was one of the original J-Torian guards. That's why he's being represented here with his picked out sig fig face and hairpiece, but he's still sporting that J-Torian guard outfit. That is one of the most prestigious outfits that you can have around here. Next up, we have King Bibby here. He specifically requested to be Poe with Malachilles torso, which was definitely an interesting combination, but you know, who am I to tell him no? So yeah, shout out to King Bibby, another guy who's super active on the channel, super appreciative of everything he's done for me in regards to super chats, and just a fun person to have in the chat whenever he's around. Hold up, who's that? It's JB. I hope I did that right. Yeah, we got JB Brick Fanatic here. He was another person who donated enough to make it into the BOYO Lounge, and I mean, what can I say about JB? I've gotten to meet him multiple times now. We've spent a considerable amount of time together at Brick Fair, Virginia. One of the nicest guys you can meet. Like, he was really the only reason that I have the original Lando minifigure, and I'll never forget that because that was a super awesome thing he did for me. And he's just been a really awesome supporter of the channel. So shout out to JB Brick Fanatic, as I'm sure most of you already know him. And then next up, we have SW Bricks 75. This guy decided to pick out like the hairpiece from Ep3 Anakin and the Leonard hairpiece from, what's that show? Big Bang Theory, yeah. So SW Bricks 75, I feel like I've said that name so many times. Like, whenever I was doing Starkiller base, almost every week there was like a dono from SW Bricks 75. So shout out to him for all of his support. You know, just another guy who's just always around, always there to, you know, talk in live streams, even though I took a little bit of a hiatus towards the end of Starkiller base, which, once again, totally understandable. I worked on that mock for a very long time, but just one of those names that I instantly recognize whenever I see him come up. Next up in the BOYO Lounge is going to be Brickfreak. He is represented here sporting that Jace Malcolm body with that like Rebel headpiece and like the, I don't know what you call it, I guess the Xander swooped hairpiece. I actually really did appreciate him picking out this figure, because I was totally convinced I owned the Jace Malcolm figure, and then I saw he picked it out, so I was like, okay, let me go grab it. I just could not find it, so I had to buy another one, which was nice because, I mean, it was nice knowing that I just straight up didn't have a figure that I totally thought I had. So shout out to you for reminding me of that. But yeah, Brick's big supporter, has donated multiple times, and also just a fun person to have in the chat when he comes around. Next up, we got LegoMike, who is over here represented by this, I guess, darker skin tone clone trooper with the Jyn Erso body from Rogue One. And dude, this guy is a character. I swear, there's not a single conversation I've ever had with him where I didn't laugh. And he's a huge supporter. He's sent some of the most ridiculous donations that I've ever seen on my channel. So that's super awesome. Super funny guy. Super just energetic guy. Like he's one of those people as a content creator that you just love having in the chat because he's always engaging. He's always just super happy to be around. And like I said, as someone who's live streaming, you know, hoping for an engaging audience, there's nothing more that you can really wish for. So shout out to LegoMike. We had quite the time trying to pick out what figure he'd use, but I hope you are satisfied with what we ended up picking out for you, man. Next up is Ethan Blissett. Right here, he's represented by the OG Jango Fett figure, a very rare boy. I really brought out a lot of the rare boys here. I was actually quite surprised that no one asked for either of my 2 Chrome Gold C-3POs to be in the BOYO Lounge. I mean, you get these 2 figures, you'd think someone would pick one, but I guess it's just one of those elusive figures that people don't even really think about. But yeah, we got Ethan Blissett here, another person who is just a huge supporter of mine. Like I said, like every single stream, his name pops up, and he's constantly sending out super chats, and he's also a channel member. So thanks to you, Ethan, for everything you've done. Yeah, I think you're one of the biggest reasons that Starkiller base was able to happen. So shout out to Ethan Blissett, awesome person, awesome supporter. Next up, we have my guy Xavier Sorent, right here being represented by black-haired Kanan. And it was nice that he picked the black-haired Kanan figure because that's also kind of something somewhat significant for me to have here in the BOYO Lounge. You know, there was that black-haired Kanan hysteria that happened here on this channel. I guess it would have been last year, I think. And yeah, I did finally get a black-haired Kanan minifigure. And of course, Xavier Sorent picked out black-haired Kanan. So Xavier is just another one of those guys, like I said, as a content creator, you just love to see pop up. He's super engaging, super hilarious. He's come on my live streams at certain points to do different impressions. Some of them didn't go over as well as others, but he was always someone that I looked forward to hop on a stream to get to talk to. And I hope he's doing well. My man is happily married now. So shout out to you, Xavier Sorent. I hope you're treating your wife well. I hope you're treating your car well. And more importantly, I hope you're treating yourself well. And then next up, we have Prequel Stud, who is coincidentally sitting right next to Xavier Sorent. So Prequel Stud, I wish I could give you a long story about the encounters we've had, but the truth is I just haven't really talked to him much. There's a few things I can say. One, easily, if not the most entertaining, one of the most entertaining people in the LEGO community. Like if you go watch his videos, clearly puts a lot of effort into them, and he's just a very easy person to watch. Awesome content creator in that regard. And two, he just one night randomly out of nowhere just sent some of the most ridiculous donations that I've ever seen, which I was super appreciative of. I tried to reciprocate that at least a little bit. Unfortunately, just wasn't able to. But I hope you know Prequel Stud, wherever you are. I mean, I know he's working on his new channel now, and he's doing super well with that. So congratulations on that, man. But if you ever do decide to, you know, do a few more things back in the LEGO community, we love having you here. You were a very unique person to have in this community, and definitely a bright spot in the LEGO Star Wars YouTube community. Next up, we have Matthew T right here. So Matthew T, another person who lives in Texas, which is always super cool, but another just huge supporter of mine. Like, he's gone out of his way multiple times to just treat me extremely well. He also, I don't know if it was it a Christmas gift he sent me? I feel like he might have sent me a Christmas gift. I know he sent me multiple gifts. I just can't remember if it was specifically for Christmas. I'm gonna assume it's for Christmas. But he's just so awesome. Like, he's just done so much for me as a person and for my channel. And I thought he had like the most thoughtful minifigure requests out there. So whenever, you know, we do this, I ask people, you know, send me like what minifigure you want. And when I reached out to Matthew, he was like, I was really happy with your monster truck track video. He thought it was pretty inspiring and whatnot. And I guess it was his favorite video that I'd done this year. So he was like, I don't know, pick me the minifigure you think that would make the best monster truck driver. So I was like, huh, okay, that's really sweet. And I have no idea who I'm going to pick, because while LEGO has made Monster Jam sets, they have not made non-Technic Monster Jam sets, so still waiting for those Monster Jam minifigures. But I came up with the idea to make him a Jawa, only because if you guys have seen Robot Chicken, there's like a sequence on Tatooine where there's like Jawas and Sandcrawlers, and they're like just shredding through the desert in them, getting some sick air. And I thought that might be the closest thing to monster trucks that I can think of that's like relevant to Star Wars. So if you're wondering why you're a Jawa, that's why. Jawas make some pretty awesome monster truck drivers, at least in the Robot Chicken Star Wars community. All right, continuing through the BOYO Lounge, next up we have Chris Blank Productions here with the Clone Wars Obi-Wan face and hairpiece with, I think that's what, Cassian's torso. That's also the Rich Boy J torso. Look at that. Imagine that. Once again, one of those people who was always active on my channel. You know, came to quite a few live streams, kind of trailed off a bit towards the end there, but it was just one of those people whose names I just consistently remembered calling when it came for like people in the chat or donos or anything like that. So shout out to Chris Blank Productions. Up next here we have my guy Brian Riff, and this is a dude, like, I have to say, I've never personally met Brian, but I miss Brian. He came on the live streams multiple times, and he was always such a joy to talk to. I'm not just saying that because he agreed with me on The Last Jedi, but he was just super engaging person to speak of, and always just, you know, a pretty happy person to be on live streams. And when he was active, he was super active. I reached out to him and asked him, like, what sig fig did he want, and he was like, oh, let me think about it. And then I basically heard nothing back from him, which was kind of unfortunate. So I decided to just take it upon myself to try to recreate his like profile picture as best as possible. So Brian, if you do ever see this, I hope I've done you well by representing you here in the BOYO Lounge. I'm hoping you're happy with this. Next up is Brickkid. We got Brickkid here sitting at the table. He is represented by this like Anakin episode 2 torso and pants, and then there's like the old Star-Lord face with a brown hood. Brickkid was just always a fun person to have in the chat. Very big supporter of mine, so shout out to the Brickkid. Moving on over here, we have my guy Bricks Films, who is like, oh my god, like if you guys did a tally for like most times that my jaw has dropped because of donos, it'd probably be because of this guy. Like, this guy is just crazy when it comes to supporting the channel, so shout out to him for that. And he's almost always at the live stream. Even if he can't stay the whole time, he drops in very regularly, so I'm always appreciative of that. He also makes some awesome brick films, so like, please go check out his channel. He's represented here by the Sith Eyes Anakin Skywalker here from episode 3. Next up over here, we got my guy Owen Tomlinson sitting at the table, represented by the, I guess that's Greedo's head. Yeah, that's Greedo. We got the Greedo head here, and he's in a nice little hoodie with the dark red shirt. Now, Owen Tomlinson was one of those people that was super active here on the channel, and I just hadn't seen him in a while, so when I shot him a message, I was super shocked when he actually got back to me. But he's one of those people who, like, when he was active, he was super active, and, you know, even if it's someone who, you know, hasn't watched my videos in forever, like, even just those brief moments of just really showing support are always super meaningful to me. And I was really happy to put him here in the BOYO Lounge and to even catch up for a bit when we figured out what his sig fit was going to be. So shout out to Owen Tomlinson for that. Next up, right here, front and center, we have Elias Jones with the figure that I'm like most scared to touch. I want to rotate it because I did a video on this, but for anyone who hasn't seen it, it's definitely worth showing again. This is a Christos Customs Kiadi Mundi here with a long head, and it's just one of the coolest things I've ever had in my possession. I swear, like, I kept this thing in its protective case up until the moment I had to film this video, and then as soon as I'm done, it is going right back in that protective case. But Elias Jones is just awesome. One of the funnier people in the chat that I see come across, super active, and I cannot say just how appreciative I am that you sent me this for this video, and once I'm done with this, I will get this back to you as soon as possible, man. So thanks for being patient with me the time that it's taken me, you know, since you sent this for me to actually get this video done. And now, last but not least, I mean, who else would it be at the very end? The biggest contributor since forever. Like, I don't think anyone's ever gonna get close to this guy when it comes to, you know, donating here on my channel. But of course, we got Lego Soldier 82. Like, what more can I say about this man that I haven't already said? He is a person that I did get to meet because we shockingly didn't live that far from each other, which is always a pleasant surprise. And it was super cool getting to meet him. Unfortunately, he's basically been deployed ever since then, so I haven't really gotten to see him since then. But he's always kept up with my channel, even with significant changes to his life, which I'm always just super appreciative of. So Lego Soldier, I got to give you the Prime Award. You are by far the biggest contributor. You are by far the biggest reason Starkiller Base was able to happen. And I mean, I can't put my finger on why you decided to be as kind to me as you have, but just know that I really do appreciate it from the bottom of my heart. You are someone that has made so many things possible for me, and it's not hyperbole, and that's not hyperbole at all. Like, I totally mean that, dude. So I'm just really appreciative of it. And of course, we still have your classic Sig here, that Shadow Trooper. If you guys are wondering why Grogu is here on this table, this is also another random thing that kind of came up when I was asking people what should I reference in the BOYO Lounge? But this is like the super depressed, awkward Yoda cake. So that's why we got Grogu chilling there on the table. They're gonna eat that. Woo! If you guys were wondering why I did not have enough time to do this BOYO Lounge video as part of the Starkiller Base video, I hope that when you look at the timestamp for this thing, you look at how thorough I'm trying to be, and crediting everyone deserves to be credited, and reiterating all the memories I've had with those people, as many as possible. I hope it's obvious why this was just not something that I could do at the LEGO convention. But we're finally at the final room. This is, how can I put this? I feel like this is like the lounge of people who I've been closest to in the community. Now, a few of these people made their way outside of this room. I don't want to act like, no one outside the room is close to me. There's quite a few people who definitely deserve to be in this room that I just kind of found funnier places to be outside of this, so that's kind of why I ended up there. So if you're like, why am I not in this room? I mean, no hard feelings. Some of the closest people I am to are not in this room. But this was one of those rooms. This is like the special room, so to speak. These are the people that I typically talk to on somewhat of a regular basis, and if I don't talk to them regularly, they have meant a lot to me. They've been very special to me in some sort of way in the building of Starkiller Base. Now, before I show you guys what this is, I just want to preface it by saying the way I kind of came up for what this room would be was really Brick Rodeo and the experiences I had there with trying to make Starkiller Base a reality. I've talked about this at length here on my channel in those videos I did chronicling the process leading up to Starkiller Base, and I can't stress enough just how daunting of a task that was, how many times I genuinely believed that it probably just wasn't going to be possible. But through the help of many kind people, many selfless people, many amazing people, I was able to get that mock done, and that just means the world to me. Like, I can't even fathom how crushed and disappointed I would have been if that mock couldn't have come together at that convention, because I basically would have just never been able to see the mock fully completed. But it did, and that is easily the best thing that happened to me this year. So with that being said, I figured why not have this room be something that is representative of that experience. So here I have actually created a miniature Starkiller Base, and I didn't necessarily intend on this, but it actually kind of ended up being minifig scale, which is cool because that allowed me to have all of us here, all of the people in the community that I'm closest to, working on the mock, similar to how we worked on the mock at Brick Rodeo. So that's why this is configured the way it is. I mean, one thing I do want to state that those of you who donated, I think, what, over 120 bucks, I promise you a commemorative build. I've not forgotten about that. But this is actually a first look at it. I designed this to be the commemorative build for Starkiller Base. So if you donated that much, you're going to receive one of these. I still need to get all the pieces to make however many of these I need to create. But this is what you're going to be receiving, as well as a few other really cool things. This is going to be your miniaturized Starkiller base. So I'm really happy with the way this thing came out. I think it is an awesome mock in itself, and having all my friends here kind of working on it is actually really cool. I think it makes for a pretty awesome scene. So let's go through the scene a little bit. Starting off over here, we have my boy Lamborghini Waffle Sauce. What can I say about Waffles? Anyone who has ever gotten to experience Waffles in any capacity will always remember him. If there's one word I had to use to describe Waffles, I would say memorable, but also just so kind-hearted. Like, he has just given me so much support. If he wasn't in this room, he would actually, I'm pretty sure he'd be one of the people like in the $50 section for the BOYO Lounge. So he's giving me support in that way. He's one of the main people who like made my Discord work the way it does today. He spent an extensive amount of time making that Discord run as well as it does. So I appreciate him on that front, and just an awesome person to talk to. I love this guy. This guy is just so awesome. And I'm glad that I can call him a friend. Like, super cool to get to know Waffles. And I actually did get to meet Waffles at Brick World Chicago, like right before he moved away from the US. So clutch timing there. Behind him, he is being trailed by Simeon, another awesome person to talk to. He hasn't been super active lately, but when he was active, like I said, he was just super active, like constantly on live streams, constantly a very entertaining person to talk to. If you're a fan of David's, I'm sure you know exactly who this person is. So I have Simeon here. He's chasing Waffles with a red sandwich towel for no other reason than Waffles always said, like, oh, I can't finish the aces. There's no red sandwich towels. Well, Waffles, there is the red sandwich towels, and yet he's still running away from finishing the aces. My man's is never going to finish the aces. God dang it. So then over next to them is my guy, Lord of the Bricks. And I kind of put him here somewhat off to himself because, like, you know, he's active kind of in waves. Like, when he's active, like, he can come on a stream and we can talk forever. But especially lately, he's more often just been kind of lurking in the shadows. I think that's how he even would describe it himself. So here I have him, like, lurking, just observing, keeping everything orderly here in the BOYO Lounge. And Nate is awesome. Like, Nate is, I'd say, probably my most passionate supporter, and through that, he's become a really good friend of mine. Like, I genuinely trust him quite a bit. So, I mean, Nate, you are awesome. I'm glad to have you around. Nate's just one of those people you just want to have around. Like, he's a friend you want to have. Like, everyone needs a friend like Nate for sure. So, shout out to Nate, man. Lord of the Bricks right here. Not in the fresh, but in the plastic. Still got his sig fig that he sent me quite some time ago, and I'm glad to finally get to use it and put this man in the BOYO Lounge because he certainly deserves it. If we move back over here to this side, we have Julian HSSF represented by his black silhouette with just the Star Wars logo because he refuses to do a face reveal, and he refuses to pick an actual sig fig. So that's just pretty much what he's going to be until he decides to pick a sig fig, if he ever does. But Julian's great, man. Julian is just consistently funny, like just one of those people who, you know, was awesome to have in the live stream chats, awesome to have in the Discord, and kind of made his way to be one of my moderators through that, which is always cool. It's nice to get to know those people on a deeper level. So it makes me really happy that we chose you to be a moderator, Julian. It's been awesome getting to talk to you. Next up, we have my guy, Alex Farmer. Now, this was a guy I really enjoyed talking to when he was super active. Haven't really gotten to talk to him in quite some time, which you'll notice, I mean, I wouldn't say it's a common theme, but it's definitely a thing that happens. And like I said, I don't mention that to like hold anything against these guys, but I mention it to just say, like, you know, even these people that I don't talk to like on a daily basis now, they still are special to me because they held a special place in my heart, even at some point, even if it was just for a brief moment. So Alex Farmer, got him here, of course, as Anakin Skywalker from episode 3. And then next up over here, we have my guy, Alex McBrick. Like, I'm not gonna lie, like, talking to Alex just kind of warms my heart. Like, he's just such a fun person to talk to. He was working on a pretty awesome, like, dinosaur theme park, like, obviously very Jurassic Park inspired, but He was working on that mock for quite some time, so if you guys want to go check out his channel, check it out. I don't know what's going on like with him right now. I haven't seen him around in quite some time, but like I said, just awesome person to talk to. Like, I could stay up with him for hours and talk Star Wars, because he's just such a great mind for Star Wars. And there's just, I can't say enough nice things about Alex. Alex is just the best. Over here in the corner, we have the last Brickbender eating his frozen chocolate bar, because apparently that's a thing he does. He likes his cold chocolate. He's also one of those staunch supporters of cold ketchup. I don't know what's up with this man and his cold food, but I have him over here eating his chocolate bar. I told him to stay away from me with his cold chocolate. Once he gets rid of the chocolate, he can come hang out with us. But while he's eating that cold chocolate, he can stay over there by himself. But oh man, like, I'd love to say like our relationship has been somewhat of a roller coaster. Like, I've had some of my most like endearing conversations with him, but also some of my most passionate arguments with him. One thing I have to say, like, this dude, he knows his stuff. Like, he is one of the biggest Star Wars fans I know. Like, I can ask him any obscure fact, especially like about Clone Wars, and he's probably going to know something about it. So he's a good person to have around in that regard. And you know, when we're not going toe-to-toe having heated debates, he's a really nice person to talk to. So shout out to Last Brickbender. Hope you're out somewhere watching this video enjoying a cold chocolate bar. So let's come back over here to this corner. We got my guy Blue Brick. Oh, Blue Brick. This is one of those people that, like, anyone who's a fan of me probably has either heard of Blue Brick or knows Blue Brick. What can I even say about Blue Brick? Such a funny man, such a talented man, ladies man, like so many superlatives I can use to describe Blue Brick. But I've had the pleasure to meet him at least 2 times now. He took some awesome photos of my Starkiller base mock. That's why I actually have him here, snagging some photos of his Blue Brick sig figs here sitting on the Starkiller base troop assembly area, just getting some pictures of that on his phone. And I put this here because this is actually something he did on my Starkiller base mock whenever he came to see it. So this is a true to life story, so to speak. But yeah, Blue Brick is just amazing. Like, he is one of the funniest people I've had the pleasure of meeting in this community. And when he's not trolling, he's one of the most intelligent and thoughtful people that I've met in this community. So pleasure to know Blue Brick, pleasure to be around him, pleasure to get to know him on a personal level, because I think Blue Brick's awesome. And I'm super happy that I've had the opportunity to get to build this mock and kind of have your support along the way. Next up over here is my man David Hall, and he's snapping pictures of Starkiller base for one reason, because he, just like Blue Brick, were the 2 people who got pretty much almost every photo that I've like used of Starkiller base. David actually filmed the Starkiller base finale, and I can't understate how clutch that was, because 1, that's my most successful Lego video to this date, so thank you, David, for that. 2, my camera was dead by this point at the convention, so if you didn't record this, I probably just would not have had a video of Starkiller base, which would have been really crappy. So I appreciate you on that level as well. And I feel like David sacrificed so much to help Starkiller base become a factor. Like, if we had to look at like percentages, you know, why did Starkiller base, or how could Starkiller base have become like an actual possibility? David would definitely be among probably the top 2 or 3 people that made this possible. Like, when he came down here to Houston, like, this man grinded out so many hours working on this build, helping us get this thing together. And his experience with large scale builds and traveling with them, packing them up, was instrumental to the success of this mock and actually getting it done. So I'm sorry that the first time you got to come down here, David, had to be under those circumstances. Like, I definitely didn't love having to have you work under those super intense conditions and really just scrap together the biggest Lego Star Wars mock ever in such a short period of time and not get much sleep. I promise you, if you ever do decide to be kind enough to come down here again, the circumstances will be much better. But if that doesn't happen, just know, like, I appreciate you so much for all the help that you gave me with that mock and all the help you've given me just through my career as, you know, a LEGO Star Wars YouTuber. I started off on the wings, and I knew you first, you know, as Solid Brick Studios, as the guy who made those big mocks. But I can sincerely say, since I've had the pleasure to meet you in the community, you're one of my favorite people that I've gotten to know on a personal level, and I really do value our friendship, even beyond the LEGO stuff. So keep doing what you do. That's the best I could say there. Next up, we got my guy, Matt, aka the Brick Whiz. He's kind of leaning over right there. And Matt's actually holding one of the first order TIE Fighters because he actually owns one of my first order TIE Fighters. A few people bought the first order TIE Fighters, the mini ones that I brought to Brick Fair, Virginia, just because I had so many TIE Fighters. I did not need that many TIE Fighters. I knew after that mock I wasn't going to use that many TIE Fighters. And one of the most heartwarming things were the people who wanted to buy the mock just because it's a nice mock. You know, Jarek's TIE Fighters are freaking awesome. But the fact that they wanted to keep these because it was like a memento from Starkiller base, which was just so cool. Like that, like obviously as someone who builds a lot and you post a lot, like I get a lot of compliments from a lot of people and I appreciate every single one. But there's just another level of appreciation for people who want to keep something that you made or a part of something that you've made just as like a way to remember or commemorate the bigger picture. So that was just a really cool feeling, and Matt was one of those people, so that's why he's here holding one of those TIE Fighters. But once again, like the same way it is with David, Matt has just been super helpful with me along the way. Like he started out kind of in the same position I was, you know, just as a LEGO Star Wars YouTuber trying to build their way up, and it's really fun to see how far both of us have come since then. Matt is also just one of the nicest people you'll ever met, one of the kindest people you'll meet. Just super genuine guy, and I love being around him. And it kind of sucks that we only get to see each other a few times a year at LEGO conventions, but I have to say, even though, you know, Matt wasn't here this time around for the Starkiller base mock, he definitely did his fair share of work in making the crate mock come together. So these two right here, two people who are instrumental to my mock success, and they have constantly saved me when I clearly have just mismanaged my time and not had my mocks completed enough when it came to the conventions coming up. Whew, okay, so where do we even go next? Hey, Gooby. Okay, so here we have Gooby0222. I actually just found this out because I didn't know, like, he has this real name for his account that he's a channel member under, but like he's a channel member and I had no idea until like just recently. So thank you so much, Gooby, for that. And here Gooby is basically just taking my first order transporter and making it a lot better, because that's pretty much what he does with anyone's mocks. So I figured it was very fitting to have Gooby doing that here. But it's not someone that I get to talk to a lot, but he's just super helpful for me when it comes to mocks, when it comes to getting help for design techniques or anything in that regard. Like, Gooby's a great person to talk to, and he has helped me. He has been instrumental in a very recent project that I've had that I haven't shown you guys yet. So thank you so much for that, Gooby. Over here next we have Banking Clan. Oh, look at him. So Banking Clan is the youngest member of the mod squad, and it's kind of always made a joke out of just that he's so young, so I decided to make him a baby here. And I found out, like, hey look, he's actually small enough to fit in the hangar section of Starkiller base, so I thought that was kind of cool. But even though he is young, I'd like to say he's wise beyond his years. Like, you know, he's not one of those people you talk to and you think he's like especially young. You know, he's always an engaging and thoughtful person to talk to when it comes to the community. So really like having Banking Clan around. Didn't mind making him a mod at all because he is awesome and just a great person to talk to. If we move back over here, we have my man Stormy Bricks. What is Stormy doing? Stormy is taking a nap because Stormy's sleep schedule is often like just totally out of whack. So I kind of made it here that, like, yeah, Starkiller base is finally finished, so Stormy can finally be at peace and get the sleep that he desperately needs. But Stormy is the best. Once again, one of those just early supporters that I've had. It's really funny to go back to like live streams that he's come on, where it was like his first time ever getting to like talk to me in person, and he was working on some super awesome builds. And you know, fast forward to now, like I've seen him grow up so much, which is kind of weird, but still really cool to see him like mature and go through different phases of his life. And also just one of the funniest people in the community, one of the most creative people in the community. A lot of talent even beyond Lego. Like he makes music, which is just insane to me. Like I think that's so freaking cool. But yeah, I got Stormy here, finally at peace, finally can put himself to sleep because Starkiller base does not need to be worked on anymore. Here we have Kappa Bricks. I'd say out of everyone, this is probably the most inactive person here. Like he'll pop in from time to time, but he's just unfortunately not someone I've gotten to talk to a bit. But when he was active, he was always someone I enjoyed talking to, someone we made a moderator because he was such a great person to talk to and a great person to have around. So his profile picture was Baby Groot on Discord for the longest time, and that's why he is Baby Groot here in Starkiller base. And we actually have him in the forest area because he's posing as one of the trees in the forest. Get it? Because Groot, wood, trees, get it? Okay, whatever. Over here we got my man Axidroid, my boy Young Axie, the landscape god. He's setting up the final trees in Starkiller base because this man builds some excellent looking landscapes and just natural settings when it comes to mocks. I'm sure a lot of you have heard of him recently for his Wakanda mock, which is getting so much recognition, and I'm so happy for him because if there's anyone in the community who deserves it, it's definitely him. He makes great content. He is also just a great person. Like, you know, in a Star Wars community that's filled with a lot of people who you probably would rather not talk to, actually is just the best person to talk to. And you don't even have to like the same stuff he likes. Like, he's one of those Star Wars fans you can talk to and have fun with just by virtue of him being a Star Wars fan. So got Axie over here doing what he does best, throwing together some awesome landscaping. And even though you couldn't like show up this year to make it to the US to help personally work on Starkiller base, I do hope someday we do get to meet in person, man. All right, over here on this side. So this is actually a really important section of the mock. This is a table here, and we have a few people who are instrumental in making the actual Starkiller base come together actually happen. So over here, we got my boy Comic Bricks. Right here, we have Trevor04, and then right here, we have Caleb Ricks. So there's so many things I can say about these people individually, and I'm going to do that in a sec. But before I do that, I just kind of want to explain what's going on here. So at the convention, these guys were like my primary shipbuilders. So Comic is over here assembling a First Order Jarek TIE Fighter. We have Trevor here working on an X-Wing, and yes, that 1x1 yellow brick is Trevor. I guess I should be more clear about which part of that is actually Trevor. And then Caleb Bricks here is building this Pose X-Wing in black and orange. So that's why these guys are here. This is not too far from the scene from the actual convention. Like, this is almost exactly how it went down. So it was cool getting to recreate this here. So I'll start with Caleb, because this is the person here who I've talked the least with. He does live somewhat close to me, like we live in the same state, so that's kind of cool. I've seen him at Brick Rodeo a few times, and his support for making Starkiller base happen at Brick Rodeo this year just really kind of came out of nowhere. Like, for someone who I hadn't really talked to extensively, I would never have expected him to help me out so much, but like David, like if we looked at the percentages of like making Starkiller base come together, he would be a very big spot. Like, he'd be towards the top. Just because he worked magic, man. There's no other way I can put it other than he worked magic at throwing together the sections that he threw together to make Starkiller base possible at Brick Rodeo. So that's super awesome. So shout out to him for that. Next up is Trevor04. Man, I can go on for days about Trevor. So Trevor is one of those people who I wouldn't say I talk to him a lot. We don't talk on a regular basis, but whenever we meet at conventions, it's almost like we have been talking, like we kind of pick right back up. Trevor is the person I probably look up the most to when it comes to just knowledge about Lego, knowledge about pieces, knowledge about mocks. Like, if I'm ever questioning how to design something, I will go to Trevor because he probably knows how to figure it out. This guy is a Lego genius. Sometimes I wish he'd trust his own instincts more to get more of his own personal projects done, but he just has such high standards. Like, you know, even something that would look amazing to other people, maybe he's not so happy with, so he doesn't get those projects finished. But if this man learned to like really trust, his designs and just go ahead and put them out there, he would easily be like top 5, top 10 builder out there without question. But outside of his talent, like Trevor's just a great person. Another one of those people who helped me out so much, who stayed up with me almost the entire night at Brick Rodeo making this mock happen. So this scene would not be possible without Trevor. So thank you so much, Trevor, for everything, all the support you've given me, man. And I have so much fun whenever we do get to see each other. Similar to both of those people, Comic Bricks. So Comic is someone that I do actually talk to quite a bit. And Comic actually lives close to me. Like, me and Comic live in the same city. So I've gotten to meet him a few times. And once again, just one of the nicest people in the community. Great person to have around. Comic Bricks recently built this giant bus from Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. So if you guys haven't seen that, go check out his giant bus mock. And I did get to finally see it in person at Brick Rodeo, so that was super cool. And whenever I showed up to Brick Rodeo, he was just right there like, how can I help? How can I help? What can I do for you? And I really appreciate that. Like, I was so stressed that weekend that any person who reached out to me to help make that weekend easier for me just really meant a lot to me. So Comic was awesome in that regard, but even outside of that, just as a moderator, as a person in the community, super awesome, nice guy. Like, one of those people you just love having around. So that is why he is here helping, working on those TIE fighters. Next up, we have Enthert, the mock god. This guy is actually here because he's overlooking these two working on those X-Wings. Those custom X-Wings were actually designed by Enthert. So that's why we have him here working on these X-Wings. And oh man, Enthert is awesome. Like, he was probably the biggest reason that I got into building other people's mocks. Like, the first time I ever built anyone's mock that wasn't mine was his. I built his X-Wing, and then from there it just kind of took off. Like, I'm always building people's mocks now because of Enthert. But Enthert is just the best. Like, extreme Star Wars knowledge, extreme Lego knowledge, very kind person, even funny also. Like, this guy's got some jokes on him. So he's just one of those people that I really would love to finally get to meet in person. But until then, we talk pretty extensively, and I just love having Enthert around. Next up is the person that you've all been waiting for, or I'm sure that he's been waiting for this moment. We got Jedi Bob. So if you guys are wondering, what the heck is Jedi Bob doing here? Why is Jedi Bob flying? Well, Jedi Bob is not flying, but I figured the best way, the only way to have him here in the BOYO Lounge was to have him doing something that he always does, and that's making things about himself. So we have everyone here like working on Starkiller base, just building it up, getting things done, and then Bob decides, hey Jay, let's talk about wrestling. Let me do this wrestling move and crash through Starkiller base so you can stop talking about Star Wars and we can talk about wrestling. So that's kind of why I have Bob doing that right there. And I don't mean any malice towards that. Jedi Bob is awesome. He's funny, he's sweet, he's kind. He's one of those people that I did get to meet at Brick Fair, Virginia this year, and I'm so happy he did I'm so happy we did get to meet because he made that trip so memorable. Like, I really do value the time that we got to spend together, and I feel like any LEGO convention I go to moving forward, like, I would like for Jedi Bob to be there. He is an awesome person to talk to in person. But even before then, like, Jedi Bob's one of those people who, like, when I didn't really know him well, when he was just kind of a face in the live stream chats, I would always look forward to him joining the calls because he just has a charisma about him that isn't really matched by many people. And he's a person that you can talk to for hours, really about anything. So I'm really happy we did get to meet Bob. I know that I make hella jokes at your expense, but I assure you it all comes from love. And like I said, I value the time that we got to spend together, as well as the time that we get to talk to each other when we do get to talk. So shout out to Bob for that. Last but certainly not least, I saved him for last because I felt like I was gonna go on and on about him, but we got Cult of Christensen here, and you can see he's holding a trophy fig because Colt was basically the person that set up all the specific figures throughout Starkiller base. Like, Comic Bricks and a few others helped set up, you know, the figures just standing here, but Colt, like, he did the heavy work in regards to, like, putting the figures where I would have wanted them. Like, it makes me so happy knowing that Colt knows me so well that I didn't actually have to set up a single figure in my Starkiller base mock. Colt just kind of he either knew like where I wanted figures based on videos I've made, or he knew me well enough to know where I would have wanted them to kind of set up the scenes that I would have liked. So I appreciate like Colt's support in that regard. But this is where do I even begin? I spent probably at this point more time with Colt than I have with any of these other people, just because he made the trip down here to come help me with Starkiller base and take it to Brick Rodeo, and he was super supportive that whole time, like the whole time, never complained about anything, was just super willing to do whatever it took to make this mod possible. And he was just a really awesome, positive attitude to have around. And then we obviously came back to my house, spent tons of time together, and we took a road trip together up to Brick Fair, Virginia, in Virginia. So, you know, the first time we meet, you know, he helps me put this mock together. He gets barely any sleep, stays up with me an entire night at a convention. The best friend anyone could ask for in that regard. Turns right back around, takes a road trip with me across the country to help me take my mock to Virginia. And I just, like, words can't explain just how much Colt has done for me and how much Colt has meant to me, because of these things, because of the conversations we get to have, because of just his unwavering support. And I like to say because of that, like, he's a lifelong friend that I'll have. So thank you so much, Shane, for everything, man. Like, it's hard to kind of express into words just how much you've done, but I appreciate each and everything. Like, as I'm recording this, I'm glancing over at the Mos Espa pod race set that you and Nate gifted me, and I'm just thinking, like, man, like, there are so many people in this community that I love and that I just really value having in my life, like, more so than a lot of people that I've met in person. So I hope that this little monologue has done justice to our relationship. Whew. And then finally, we have me. I guess Colt wasn't technically last. We have me here last. I am putting the snow speeders on the Starkiller base. And what can I say about myself? I mean, I'm really cool. I'm really funny, handsome as well. I'm a great person. No, I'm kidding. I'm not going to go on about myself, but I guess, you know, it was worth mentioning that, yes, I am here working on Starkiller base as well. And yes, this is the room. So I know this is going to be a long video. I applaud anyone who sat here and listened to me go on and on about my friends and how awesome they are and how much they mean to me. But this is super important to me. I know this isn't going to make for the most glamorous, like, entertaining video, but having it in words, expressing to these people how instrumental they were in making this mock possible, and really just showing them how much value they add to my life was really important to me. And I hope all of you get a chance to watch this. I hope that you appreciate what I've said, and I hope that in a way it's mutual. You know, you guys are obviously very giving to me, and I really do try my best to reciprocate that as much as possible. And there you have it, guys. There was the BOYO Lounge. Kudos to anyone who has stuck around to the very end of the video. I tried to make this video as heartfelt as possible. A lot of the people that I talked about really do mean a lot to me. I wanted to make that as apparent as possible. So I hope that that comes across as you guys sit down and watch the video. Another thing I did want to mention is I do have to give special thanks to a few other people, namely Brick Vault. They actually sent me the instructions to those Jarek TIE Fighters for free. So I have to definitely give kudos to them for making a big part of this mock possible. I do also have to give thanks to my guy Garrett Bricks. Even though, you know, he wasn't my partner in this build as he has been in the past, he was very helpful in making a lot of the build possible, namely with minifigures. He basically donated his entire First Order army to me for this mock, and I mean, he has tons of First Order figures, so that came in so clutch. And if there's anyone I'm forgetting, thanks to anyone out there who had even a small piece in making Starkiller base possible, because like I said, it was such a daunting task. And now I can look back on it with fond memories. Now I can look back on it and laugh because of the help and support that you guys gave me in making it a completed mock. So that's awesome. Even those of you who did contribute to the mock but didn't meet that $15 or $50 threshold, I still obviously appreciate what you guys have done. And even if you couldn't contribute at all, if you ever once liked a video of Starkiller base, if you commented, if you just even watched the video, all of that support builds up and it amounts to what ended up being, like I said, the largest fan-made LEGO Star Wars mock ever. That's just still weird to think about. But that being said, guys, if you like what I do, go ahead and support the video by hitting the like button, support the channel by smashing that subscribe button, and I'll be back again